certainly the biggest offensive signing in the offseason. Clearly didn't really work out. What are your thoughts on that whole kind of situation at this point?
Yeah, I think it happens. I mean, there's times you can't get everyone right, and to echo what Brian said, sometimes when you see a guy scouting, you see him in his team, they might play a little bit differently, and trying to project how he's going to fit in our team that's the trick, right? And sometimes you get it right, and sometimes it just doesn't click right. And his time here is a good pro. He did some good things for us. We thanked him for everything and his effort, and we wish him luck in going back to Scandinavia.
I don't know if this is necessarily your area of expertise, but does waiving him do anything other than open up an international spot? Does it free up TAM? Does it free up salary cap spot? Or is this really just about having an extra international spot to use?
I mean, for sure the international spot, and I think it's a combination of both. We do get some money to work with. So, as Brian said, we have a list of guys we've been looking through. The window's still open, so we're working hard, and hopefully we can do some things to bolster our team for the run we have in front of us.
Should we read too much into the timing of it, as far as it's still reasonably early in the window? I suppose you could have waited longer to waive him. I mean, does that mean that we should expect an imminent signing, or is it just that the timing is not necessarily super relevant?
Yeah, I mean, when you sign a guy, there's a lot of things that you're waiting on. If a guy's getting released for his club, the ITC, so there's a lot of things that, sometimes you can't just say, hey, get him here this week. So there's a lot of things that happen that are out of our control, and I think for me, getting the right guy and the right fit, and hopefully it's the guy that fits our group, is the most important thing, and then working through the details as fast as we can.
Without tipping your hand too much, can you tell us what sort of player, style-wise, you're looking for and looking at right now?
I mean, I think, you look at the way Raul plays, and with Victor and Nico and Clint and Bruin and, Jordan next year, you're not just looking for this year. So I think, those are things we weigh into all of our scouting and trying to predict how they're going to fit with our group. So, a guy who's good with his feet, good with the ball, is willing to attack. If it's a defender, someone who can connect out of the back and play out of the back and defend one-on-one well. All those things we want to fit in the way we play. And, we have to weigh the strengths and weaknesses of each guy, and that's what we're doing now.
Did Magnus approach the front office at all to ask about waiving him in time to fit into this transfer window, let's say, with another team?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had discussions in the last month, but I think he was, like I said, he's a good pro. He was coming out here and doing his job every day and working hard and trying to get on the field every game. And that's what we want from our players. They just want to do what they can to play and be on the field and help us win.
Was he told what you guys wanted more from him in order to fit on this team? Did the discussions ever reach
I'm
that
sure
stage?
that Brian and the coaches were, I think they do a very good job of communicating with all our guys. So I'm sure there was communication just like with every other player. I wasn't in those meetings, but I'm certain they happened.
Are you expecting him to head back overseas or possibly look for something in the league?
Yeah, I would think at this point he's probably going back to Scandinavia, but we'll see. I'm going to stay in touch with him and follow where he ends up, but I'm sure he'll have some options in this window for him. I think the timing, as Brian said, the timing of coming out for him now, there'll be more options than at the end of our season.
For the front office, I guess maybe collectively, how hard is it to look at a player who I would assume you still feel is pretty talented and make that decision that it's just not working and it's better for us to go our separate ways, rather than continuing to hope that he'll switch will flip,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he'll be useful. I mean, because I have to imagine that on some level it is tempting that it's kind of a sunk cost, and to say, look, we've already invested this much in, and we should keep going with it.
I mean, those are conversations we have all the time, and trying to predict those is difficult. And we have a lot of people on our staff who played professionally, and they think of examples in their own personal career of times where a guy kind of lost his way, and then all of a sudden he starts scoring goals and getting confidence. And that's pro sports, and being able to predict those things is very difficult to do. But I think, you know, there's times where you need to make decisions, and sometimes you make the right ones and sometimes you don't, but you have to have the conviction at times to do it.
Were you on board with this decision?
Yeah, I mean, I think we try and do everything collectively and get feedback from everyone. So I think once we make a decision, we're all together with that decision.
Do you ever get, if a player that you bring from a certain league doesn't really work out, do you kind of start to not look in that particular league, or you just take it by a player-to-player basis?
Yeah, I never cancel any league out. There's good players all over the world and every league in the world. And I think it's just the individual and his motivation and whether he fits with our group or not and how he plays.
The scouting takes quite a long time. Are you this close to the end of the window already kind of lowering down on a couple of guys, 3 guys, 1 guy that you guys are kind of lean on?
Yeah, we're trying to narrow it down to 1 guy at this point, but you know, obviously the World Cup was playing. There's no leagues playing at the moment. Everything is starting up for the next season. So all the scouting and being at the stadiums and meeting with players has been done.
Are you looking at options inside the league as far as trades or anything like that?
Yeah, that's always an option for us. So obviously when the window closes, the trades are finished. So we're looking at all options.
Is that easier or harder to do than bringing a guy from abroad?
It's challenging as well. It's a different challenge, just because a team needs and other teams, you know, have their needs. So, you know, we sort through that and we weigh both sides of it and which one ends up being the best option for us and the best fit.